A really good exercise to improve hip external rotation is the pigeon pose. The pigeon pose requires hip external rotation, that's your foot turning inward towards you, as well as hip flexion, where your knee coming towards your chest. Unfortunately, as you can see, it does require a certain amount of adequate external rotation and flexion to begin with. So a lot of people either cannot do the exercise or force themselves into bad patterns to attempt to achieve this higher level position. So what I'd like to do today is show you some modifications that you can try to still get the same stretch, but in a slightly regressed fashion so that you can safely progress to the pigeon pose. One modification to the pigeon pose is to simply perform the exercise with your leg propped up on a plinth or a massage table. So you can see I can now safely and comfortably put myself into that 90-degree position of hip flexion and external rotation. And now I'm able to apply more pressure and move a bit more freely than I am on the ground. If you still struggle in this position of trying to get the knee flat on the ground into more hip ER, you can try and prop your leg up on a foam roller or a yoga block so that you can comfortably position yourself in whatever rotation you have, that you can then increase tension and mobility into the hip by adding some simple flexion. So you can see in this position, I'm able to hinge from my hip. I'm not collapsing into my pelvis and promoting posterior pelvic tilt. I'm just in neutral, simply adding a small hinging motion that I can still feel stretch into my hip and into my glute that's comfortable, and I'm not causing any pain deep into my hip and groin. And then I can move my back foot back to again create more load into my hip. Another great way to modify that pigeon pose, if you don't have access to a nice high plinth, is by using this incline bench. Now here I have it propped up approximately 45 degrees. I'm gonna put my foot right into the groove of the hip portion and the back portion, and then just let my leg rest comfortably into some hip external rotation. So from here, I can still allow some hinging and weight bearing into my joint, but as you can see, it's limiting my ability to excessively crank into some external rotation that I might not have or be able to achieve comfortably. So from here, I can scoop my back foot back. I can lean onto the table to unload my hip, and then gradually just lean in forward, creating more flexion. And again, just like the pigeon pose on the table, I'm not folding and collapsing into my hip. I'm allowing good neutral spine to flex over my pelvis. I can then simply just progress this movement by decreasing the amount of incline. So I can go from a 45-degree angle to this 30-degree angle, and then again, comfortably assume even more stretch.